Hello YouTube and welcome back. There is nothing more frustrating than when you're a brand new iOS developer, you're learning from scratch, that you're making mistakes, that's normal, and that things do not work. You get frustrated and sometimes you just quit for a couple of days or maybe for longer than that. So what happens when the tool itself doesn't work? You get even more frustrated because you do not find the solution. You believe it's your fault, where actually it's the tool's fault. So recently we've had a bunch of students or people on YouTube complaining about the playground from Apple, which keeps running and running and running and never input anything and never does anything. So this is correct. The playground right now is kind of broken. Apple released an update back in June 2018, but this didn't solve this kind of like infinity loop of running in the background. So why not go back in the past and do it the old-fashioned way, the way that I used to do it before the playground was even released. So let's jump into the computer right now and I'll show you how to do it. So I'm going to open Xcode, which is right here on my desktop. We're going to start a new Xcode project. Single view application, because the only thing we need is just a class. Let's call that practice. Swift is our language of choice. Core data, I don't care. The rest up. I'm gonna put this on my desktop. Boom. Let's give it a chance to start. What we need is also to enable a simulator device, not your phone. You can use your phone if you want, but it's simpler to just have it on your simulator. Let's actually open the guy too, because it always takes a little while to boot. Okay, now we can get started. We don't even need the main storyboard. What we're going to do is use the view controller.swift class, which is linked to the storyboard in our file. So what we're going to do is first get rid of what I do not need here, and we're going to work inside this one. So the old-fashioned way, actually I'm going too fast, it's after this. So the old-fashioned way, before the playground, where you could actually code and do anything in the playground, you would have to create a new project and go dive into the view did load, this one, of an application that you actually never would code because it was just practice. So what happened is when you launch the simulator, there's a bunch of things that happen in the background. But when you launch the simulator, which is right here, when the app actually launches, there's the first view that did load. So that's why people would practice code inside a view did load, because as soon as they would launch simulator, it would execute all the code that would be inside this part of Xcode. So this is how we can actually go around the playground and use Xcode for now. So the same way as we do in the playground is we can show variable name, define this as a string, and I'm going to call it Adrian. Now you can see that if I launch view did load, it's going to work with the variable name. Actually, I can do that as a let. So it goes practice to start with the let, like that. In the future, if you need to change it, it's easier to turn it into a variable and keep it as a constant. Like in the future, you don't change it by accident if it's something you don't want it to be changed. So how it works is like here, you can actually print the name. And this is how you would do in the past to be able to see something in the console right here below. If you wanted to see if your code was working, you would write it down in the view did load. You would launch, like right here, the simulator. You would wait that your app would load and you would look at the input. So it's a bit more time consuming than the playground, but the playground is not working. So we're actually going to be saving some time using this way. Okay, so we can see that our print statement, which we asked to print the name, worked right here. And so it works the same way as if we had the playground with our code in the center and the output on the side too. And we can do that with a bunch of little things. So now if I want to change the name, I'm going to turn this back into a variable, and I'm going to do name equal Chris. Guess who that is? And here again, we're going to go for print. And we're going to print the name again. Now you're going to be wondering, why is it not changing anything here down below? Well, you are on Xcode, you're not a playground, so it doesn't run automatically. You have to press Command R to run the whole thing again and wait that your simulator launch and reboot the whole app. So as soon as it booted, perfect. So we can see our first print statement and our second print statement. Now you're going to be wondering, how do I handle functions? Well, you are inside the functions right here. Can you write a function inside a function? Well, the answer is not. You cannot go for function, double, and we're going to go for a number, which is int, which I should write like this. Let's not do a return, let's just do a print statement, which is going to be number time number. So this is not going to work, because a function has to be outside another function. In the playground you have a little more freedom, because you could write a function anywhere. Of course, you could still write some classes and functions inside a playground, but you could not put a function inside a function. Where the Xcode, you need to kind of know where you have to put things around, because like even if you put a variable, it's not going to be available everywhere. So let's first check this one, which I'm going to call here number. Oh, I told too much. I even made a little typo here. So now our function is outside the viewDidLoad function. It's going to be able to be executed from the viewDidLoad by calling double by number 4. So if I run this again, we should be able to print the number plus number, which double of 4 should be 8, and we're going to see this right here. Okay, perfect. So what's going on now? Let's say if you have in the viewDidLoad, let me put all this together because those are together, and double, we're going to do this. So now what if you have a variable inside your viewDidLoad, which is called my int, which is going to be an int. This is optional, you don't have to put this. I just kind of like to put that on. So my int would be 8. Now what if inside the double function you want to change my int plus 2 would give us a new my int. How can you do this? If I build, it's going to fail miserably because it cannot find the my int. So you have to think same as in the playground. You have to think about the functions to be separate boxes. So put a box around this function and put a box inside this function. You can see that there are two different boxes, and once something is inside a box, it cannot get out. So if you want to have my integer, my int, to be accessible from the viewDidLoad and the double function, you have to put this variable outside of the scope of the function. So we're going to go put it above here, still inside a class, but not inside a function anymore. And we can actually do another one here and say print my new int is my int, and we're going to run it again. Build successful. You can do Command B to build to check if your code runs, and Command R if you want to have the other output. So now you can see that we have 8 for the double of 4, and my new int is 10 because we ask it to have a plus 2. I know it doesn't make any sense to do the my int plus 2 in double, but it was just to keep two functions and not create a third one. So now you can see that you can actually use Xcode and a single ViewController class file to practice your code and play around with multiple functions and see the output as soon as you run into the simulator. So we are all waiting that the playground gets fixed for this kind of like annoying bug of recurring loop. So we all know that Apple is going to release new phones in 2 weeks. Hopefully the following week with iOS 12, we're going to have a new version of maybe Pages, Number, Keynote, Xcode. They all come out at the same time with macOS and iOS. So hopefully the public update of Xcode hopefully gets a little fix for this. Meanwhile, you know now how to use Xcode to practice your code and not get blocked by the playground. Thank you for watching.
Hey, did you join my free Facebook community yet? That's where I hang out along with a ton of other people learning iOS just like yourself. I also post early access to all of my videos inside that group before I put them on YouTube. You can also get help with any questions you're having. Visit the link below, click on the join group button, and I'll approve your request right away. Alright, so I'll see you in there. Talk soon.